Hey, don't look now, but LSU, only one loss, moving into the middle of October. They're in the college football playoff race. And they kind of announced that after their massive win at home over Ole Miss. But who is LSU? I want us to kind of take a closer look, a more all-encompassing view at what this program is right now in year 3 under Brian Kelly. Make sure you're subscribed. LSU Tiger fans, glad to have y'all here, man. Y'all been good to us since the infancy of this show on this channel. Y'all got dialed in. We appreciate you for that. If you haven't yet subscribed, big open arms for all y'all out there in Baton Rouge and LSU fans everywhere. So thank you for being subscribed. Also, want to let y'all know the hard count brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks, okay? $5 in lineups. When you play, get you $50 in promo funds. We play exclusively college football on the show. Got a square that we love a little bit later in this segment as it pertains to a certain LSU player and what we think they will do against Arkansas. We'll talk about all that. Make sure you're dialed in. Thank you in advance for using that code because it helps us look good for Prize Picks. And also thank you for being subscribed. So here's the deal, man. After the USC game, everyone's like, oh, Brian Kelly, is he the guy? LSU, they can't win the opener. What's going on? And I think there's a certain degree of like, that's valid. It's valid because of the way the past couple of openers have gone under Brian Kelly. Get it? But we've seen LSU lose that first game and then continue to trend upward and play their best football and be right there in the mix at the end of the season for the SEC title, because they made the SEC championship, LSU's first year under Brian Kelly. Last year, if they had had a defense, to be real, they would have made the college football playoff and woulda, shoulda, coulda. There's a big reason why you brought in Blake Baker to be your new DC. What LSU is right now is not a finished product, and to be real, that's good if you're an LSU fan. You don't want to play your best football in the second week of October. You want to play your best football in November. Now, the key within that is you still want to play good enough football each and every week to establish good habits, establish trajectory, and obviously not catch an L you shouldn't catch. Now, they play Arkansas on the road this upcoming weekend. We have picked LSU to win that football game. Full prediction is on the channel, so another reason to be subscribed. But what I would say both offensively and defensively, what I just said a second ago about what Brian Kelly teams typically do at LSU, they're both progressing. They're both trending upward. Defensively, I think you have seen steady improvement since that USC game. What they did against Ole Miss, holding that outfit to 26 points, I think that's a good Ole Miss team. Just so we're on the same page, I don't think there was anything like fluky or artificial about what that Ole Miss offense is. I think that was a really impressive showing by the defense. And then offensively, same deal. Still finding their footing, but I do think that they have an identity. And I think what they found now in Caden Durham, young running back for them, that's going to be something that's going to be fun to watch as he progresses and evolves into the player that he can be. But going back to what I just said, I think there is real strong points in both the offensive and defensive units for LSU. Reason why that's important, when things get weird, that's what you fall back on. And things have gotten weird a couple of times here for LSU. Things got weird at South Carolina, down by multiple scores. What do? Lean on Garrett Nussmeir in the pass game, pass rush, get active, vibes are high, you find a way to come back and win. Same deal against Ole Miss, at the crib, Death Valley at night. Things getting weird, down by multiple scores. What do? Garrett Nussmeir, throw it 50 times. LSU defensive line, go get after Jackson Dart. Okay, we ride. Like the defensive line has a sack rate of 11% right now, or the defense rather has a sack rate of 11%. The reason why I mentioned the defensive line is because Braden Swinson is an absolute savage up front, and he may end up breaking the single season record at LSU for sacks in a year. So take of that as you will. In the passing game, Garrett Nussmeir, I mentioned him. Clearly they trust him. Over 50 attempts against Ole Miss. I would take, I think, Garrett Nussmeir to Kyron Lacey in a 50-50 situation up there with anybody else in America. And that sounds a little bit extreme. It sounds a little bit hyperbolic. That's just how I feel. Like, they have really found their stride these last couple of weeks, playing their best football when it is required. In overtime against Ole Miss, back shoulder to Kyron Lacey up in the air, game blouses. Like, to have that in the back pocket and to have that now evolving and developing in your most crucial point of your season, October moving to November, that's massive. That's absolutely massive. That's going to serve them extremely well down the stretch here. Now, that's awesome. It's great to have those things going for you. But perhaps more importantly, than the offensive and defensive side of the football for LSU. This team has real grit, man. They do. And, like, grit is tough to define on a box score level or when you watch the tape, but, like, you know when you see it. And I think it's very easy to see it when you watch LSU play football. I mentioned the 2 comebacks. LSU, in both those spots, had multiple opportunities to throw in the towel. Yeah, we're on the road at Willie B. Like, this place is crazy. This is their Super Bowl. It's college game day. Uncle. Same deal with Ole Miss. Hey, they're supposed to be a college football playoff team, right? Jackson Dart, one of the best quarterbacks in America. They never said die. Never took their foot off the gas. Kept fighting. Even when it would have made sense for them not to. Why does that matter? When you win in a gritty sense, like LSU has, does a couple of things. One, it builds confidence. Hey, we actually are who we think we are. We can hang with the Ole Misses of the world. Top 10 teams in college football. We can do that. As importantly, it builds composure. Because you look at the stretch here for LSU, they're going to be in the mix. So next time they get in that one-score game, next time they're down by a touchdown, there's no panic. Heart rate is staying at a resting level all across that roster. Why? Because they've been there before. Now, you don't want to routinely be behind. That's obvious. But the fact that you have familiarity with those situations, that's massive. I mean, there is no way to replicate that. And that's going to serve them well because looking at the stretch here, there's a lot of one-score spreads for LSU. Like, if we're trusting Vegas here, they will have some close games. At Arkansas, LSU favored by 2.5. At A&M, 2.5-point dog on the road. You got Bama, hopefully at night, in Death Valley. Right now, that spread is plus 4.5 against LSU. At Florida, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, like all of those games, show me the obvious loss. Show me the game where you say, yep, LSU is definitely losing that one. If you're pointing to Bama, Death Valley, it could be at night. Brian Kelly never lost at night in Death Valley. I'm just saying I don't know if I would point to that game. Now, again, are all these games gimmies? Of course not. But if LSU runs through that stretch and only drops one game, I'm telling you, a one-loss record in the SEC paired with a loss in week 1, 10-2 LSU, I think you get in. I think you get in. So we keep seeing this from Brian Kelly's LSU teams. They play their best football when it matters. Over his first 2 seasons, Brian Kelly's teams in November in Baton Rouge, or at LSU, I suppose, they are 6-2. All right? Translation, they play good football late in the year. That's depth, that's coaching, that's culture, that's buy-in, that's composure. That's all they have right now. So right now, LSU is plus 135 to make the college football playoff. When you check out Vegas, hey, we'll take it. Going to week 8, we'll take it. Got to handle business. You take care of what you can take care of, and you should be okay. But, like, you feel pretty good if you're LSU right now. So the Prize Pick Square we love this weekend, I mentioned Kyron Lacey. His receiving yardage total against Arkansas is put at 74.5. Listen, they're starting to find their stride. They're starting to feed him. He's had over 100 yards in his last 2 games. We're going to take the more there. Feel great about doing so. Again, code HARDCOUNT. When you just play $5, you get $50 in promo funds. So if you play $5 in lineups on like the Oregon-Purdue game this upcoming Friday, you got $50 in promo funds to go ahead and put all that down on Kyron Lacey, more than 74.5 receiving yards, and then whatever other square you want to pair with it. And we all eat. So we appreciate you being dialed in. Appreciate you using that code. Going to be a fun one if you're an LSU Tiger fan here down the rest of the stretch. We appreciate y'all being locked in. We love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time.